Hi, I'm Antonio Mora. This is Our World Notes on the News. Measles has now shut down schools and even forced the Caribbean island to quarantine an American cruise ship with some 300 people on board. Week after week, the number of cases in the U.S. of the once eradicated disease is growing, and it is now almost a certainty that this year will be the worst in a quarter century. The marvels of modern science is an expression many of us use to describe everything from the mundane to the extraordinarily important. Few marvels of modern science have been as transformative as the development and wide distribution of vaccines. On the other hand, few marvels of ignorance have been greater than the anti-vaccine movement. I remember getting the measles when I was 4. It was so miserable. It's among my earliest memories. Back then, about 500,000 cases were reported in the U.S. every year. Tens of thousands were hospitalized and hundreds of people died. We lived in fear of paralysis from polio, death from smallpox, infertility from mumps, horrible birth defects from rubella, and that misery, even death from measles. Thanks to the incredible success of various vaccines, none of those diseases keep us up at night in the U.S. anymore. In fact, smallpox was so thoroughly eradicated worldwide that only small samples exist in 2 laboratories at the CDC in Atlanta and the State Research Center of Virology in Russia. Immune to all those eradicated diseases, younger generations can't possibly comprehend what it was like to face those threats. But they now dread something else they can't control, the rise of autism. And in trying to find some way to protect their children, parents added yet another danger by refusing to vaccinate their kids, believing life-saving vaccines are somehow causing autism. It's hard to blame parents, many of whom rejected vaccines after they were linked to autism by a much debunked article published in the prestigious medical journal The Lancet in 1998. They also saw that the MMR vaccine became common as more kids were being diagnosed with autism. And the vaccine is usually administered at about the age when toddlers are first diagnosed with the disorder. All that and understandable fear makes people see a cause and effect scenario that doesn't exist. As the old saying goes, a lie makes it halfway around the world before the truth can get its boots on. And that lie moves even faster when celebrities start spreading it. Jenny McCarthy wrote a couple of books promoting the false information, and Donald Trump himself connected autism to vaccines. He later qualified that by saying he supported vaccinations, but that the shots should be spread out over time. Now that he's president, he's finally telling people they need to get the shots. Why people would listen to McCarthy, Jim Carrey, Jenna Elfman, Charlie Sheen, and other non-scientists is beyond me, but they do. Whether you're a Trump supporter or not, do you really want to take medical advice from him, knowing that he will tweet about almost anything? Remember, he often gives advice about things he doesn't know about. Just ask the French, whom he told to fight the fire at Notre Dame Cathedral with, quote, flying water tankers, oblivious to the danger and difficulty of using them in a congested urban environment, and to the threat that the pressure tons of falling water would put on a weakened structure that could make the whole cathedral collapse. The misguided anti-vaxxers, combined with people who claim religious objections to vaccines, have lowered vaccination rates so much that many communities no longer have herd immunity. 2 doses of the measles vaccine are only 97% effective, but if a high enough percentage of a population is vaccinated, that can create the herd immunity that makes it extremely hard for a disease to spread. Measles is an especially important case because it is unbelievably contagious, one of the most infectious diseases on Earth. It spreads through the air, and you can catch it from someone 4 days before they develop symptoms and 4 days after the symptoms go away. However, the issue is also cropping up with other diseases. Whooping cough all but disappeared in the 1940s when a vaccine became widely available. Now the U.S. is seeing outbreaks not seen in more than half a century. Lax laws have permitted too many exemptions and bogus medical excuses, allowing far too many people to not vaccinate their kids. Despite what some have argued, no First Amendment right is violated by mandating vaccination. Your rights end where mine begin. People have the right to worship however they want, but not if what they do threatens the lives of other people's children. The Supreme Court upheld the right of states to compel vaccination more than 100 years ago. Later, in the 1944 case Prince v. Massachusetts, the court held that, quote, neither the rights of religion nor the rights of parenthood are beyond limitation, and that, quote, The right to practice religion freely does not include the right to expose the community or the child to communicable disease. State governments need to act now and mandate vaccinations with only the most limited health exceptions before more people get sick and children die.